办法。可是你其实是有一个很清楚你想要什么，然后你会敢取舍，你也会很敢表达你自己，这个是我们会很喜欢的学生，就是你会很认真在思考你的人生，你不会想要让你的人生浪费掉，对。可是有时候可能你需要更虚心的去学习更多东西，就是你要把心打开，然后因为我觉得啊，我就是上会上面，就是你不止的人会让自己陷入不只要这样，然后你就没有更松，对，我会给你的句子就是你可以让自己再更广阔一点，因为我觉得你是一个可以有大格局、大胸襟的人，因为这样的人才有办法当领导阶层，你才有办法继续往你的梦想前进。那你就要看的，就是你要看得更高、更远的时候，你才有办法照顾更多人。
我是从哪边发现这些东西？
我很会看人，我很会看人。对，我觉得我应该以后没有工作要去天桥底下算命。没有啊，就是我觉得那个是人跟人的缘分，然后有的人缘分是很浅，就是我们可能相处1年都不会有印象，永远都忘不像他也是来半年的，但是我就会觉得，哎，他很有印象，对，很有印象。对，我要先，他们要上课。非常。你们还没有给我。
我心里有那个麦克风要，不用，我放弃，太不敢。
因为我有一张纸，所以想自我写，因为我很想，所以我写，因为我有写在那张纸，就这个。
那所以你要，
我如果明天有一场班是礼拜3
OK，
那个我在很多地方在等到你。
我有觉得你有在我就知道有人会没有写这种特别在意。
我是写完的，然后他被我的洗衣洗掉，所以我要写加写3次。
好哦，啊，你要找人签名。对啊，最后一页嘛，你是5、6页出来就，不是找人拿错，是这个。
规划。
我知道了。有在吗？我记得有。就是这个要请人签名。你再把它过去。那我这么直白的讲吗？聪明。后面就在这里。好，然后才找我。
哎，老师。
嗨。
对。
好，你在之后来的时候一起拿给我，我们反正一起，到时候一起来。好了吗？我想说我在讲，你未来设计后讲，先给我。
应该不会当掉吧？
你要什么？
然后把我的天马是坏掉，完蛋了。完蛋。我刚在我用的时候还可以耶。是我们学校的网络。完蛋了，情况。你那个 link 再给我一下。我怎么给你？ 跟那个亲戚办公室。我刚才在改列2点，那应该不是。看疯掉啊！那就直接唱歌了，唱关家歌。我没有一个，我也看不了。对呀。哎呦，完蛋了！什么意思？他叫我下课哦？我现在连灯都不进去。那我都会用一个连接啊，因为我没有下。哦，是看到有问题吗？因为对啊，看这边 OK 没关系，那我们就得来唱歌了。
总得看现在今年的
我们如果提早下课会怎么样？
平常的是会提早，大概到5点。
不知道能不能进到5点？我所有的东西都在上面。
我在找看。
啊，我昨天做很久了。什么意思？
有吗？等一下哦。
我一个人。
没有，那你有没有带？
这都是告诉我们只要下载的。怎么可能啊？疯掉！
但是很多东西是。这样吗？
现在它登不进去是什么意思？
好像是看到
当掉了耶！是因为我没有付钱吗？我现在连登录无法登，它炸掉了。好，没关系吧，那就这样咯。我每次都下载，我就今天没有下载，就坏了。啊，
是看到自己的问题。
对啊，
连兴趣都没有感情。
我要疯了。好吧，那就这样咯。USB 要插哪里？因为没什么人哎。
有3个现在在信。
老师都跟我们反映，
真的很坏哎，我要疯掉了，我还做那么久。好吧，就这样，那赶快上一下课。没办法啊，因为他就不让我用。
这里看
点哪个灯？
Hello, everybody.
So I have a good news and a bad news at the same time. I have all my PowerPoint on the online for the first time because I just tried it like an hour ago. It was okay. But then now the Canva is like shut down for some reason. So my PowerPoint is online, so I couldn't see anything. So today we were going to talk about the language policy regarding the situation right now in Taiwan. So I'm just going to go briefly introduce about what's going on now. And then today's is, because I know some of you are learning Mandarin. Are you guys learning Mandarin?
Yes.
Yes. 好，中文好不好？
But we don't understand anything.
You don't understand nothing? You do? 你有中文名字吗 ？Chinese name? You guys have Chinese name?
我知道微信。
保罗，你是保罗。那 everyone has a Chinese name, I think. Right? 你是保罗，那你叫什么名字 ？Chinese name? 威廉。利恩。古尔利 Four words? Three words? 国利恩 Oh, okay. How about you? 六 Okay, just one word. Because I'll ask this because later, today we're going to talk about a little bit another language that is commonly used here in Taiwan. It's Taiwanese. So later I will help you all translate your name into Taiwanese. Yeah, so Taiwan is, I know most of you know we speak Mandarin in daily life, but today we're going to introduce you for another language we call Taiwanese. So before we started to talk a little bit about the history of the language policy now in Taiwan, I want to ask you one question. Do you guys know what is the official language of Taiwan? Mandarin? Yeah? Mandarin, right? Everybody thinks it's Mandarin, but then I started to prepare this presentation and I found out we don't have official language in Taiwan. We have so in our national language policy, Mandarin is considered as a broadly used language that's most mainstream, like for example, most foreigners come here to learn Mandarin, but our language, including Mandarin and the one we are learning, Taiwanese and Hakka, and indigenous language that we talked about last time we do the artwork. We have 16 official tribes and Taiwan Sign Language and Manchu dialect. These are all considered into the language that you can use in every government office. But of course, Mandarin is most commonly used. So here's a fun fact about Taiwan. Taiwanese people before 1949, we don't speak Mandarin. Do you guys know about this? So it's not very long time ago we started to speak Mandarin commonly. So my family, for example, we don't speak Mandarin at home.
What do you speak?
We speak Taiwanese.
So you know Taiwanese?
Yes, I know Taiwanese. So I'm going to teach you some Taiwanese today. Then most of the people maybe like at a central part like Taichung or like go down to south, most people speak Taiwanese. So before 1949, so do you guys know a little bit of history? I hope. Nothing. Okay, that's what I expected to do. Expect everyone. So I had it on my PowerPoint, but my PowerPoint is not working today. Sad. Okay. So So I'm gonna just throw back a little bit, like earlier in Taiwan. So Taiwan was part of Qing Dynasty. So before Qing Dynasty, Taiwan was like island, just like Portuguese people like pass, oh, Formosa, and that's it. So before that time, only like Japanese pirates,
indigenous people, and some of the immigrants
from China that is in Taiwanese island. So if you guys travel around Taiwan, so Taiwan look like this, right? Kind of. And there's an island here. You guys know?
Very cool.
Yes, very good. So
We went.
you guys went there?
Yes.
How was it?
It was great.
It's good. How was the weather there?
It was great.
Great.
A bit rain. One day rain, a bit spread.
Oh, that's the one day is rain. That's good. So this and Qing dynasty. So Penghu was part of the Ming dynasty. So at the 17th century, there's a European people started to come to the east, right? Like they come here to buy the spices, and then so that's why South America they speak Spanish, and some of the country in Africa and Macau they speak Portuguese. So the Netherlands seeing this, they say, okay, so the Portuguese and Spanish have made so much money, so they also wanted to come to the east. So when they want to do a trade, they have to find a spot to do their like resting the sheep and everything. So they wanted to go to the Netherlands people. So the Netherlands people want to go to Penghu, but then at that time Penghu was part of Ming dynasty. So they have army there, they have some immigrant there. So they didn't want it to. So the Ming dynasty said, oh, you're not going to be here. So the Netherlands people they decided to come here. Here is Tainan. If you ever guys go there, I really like Tainan. Tainan is once the capital city of Taiwan. So they landed Tainan. Tainan used to be a harbor. So they landed Tainan. They found out at that time, at 1624, around that, only indigenous people were there. Very few Chinese immigrants and Japanese pirates. Okay, so at that time, Taiwan doesn't belong to anybody. Like nobody owns Taiwan because it's just an island so far away with a lot of jungles. And then after that, there's a guy called Zheng Chenggong, okay, and then he beats the Netherlands and then claimed Taiwan, this island, started to own at the end of Ming Dynasty and starting from Qing Dynasty, the last dynasty of Chinese Empire. Taiwan officially belongs to Qing Dynasty. Okay, so that is the time. And then after that, there's a war between the Qing Dynasty and the Japanese during the before the World War II. Okay, so starting from 1895 to 1945, Taiwan is part of Japan. Do you guys know that? No, now you know. Okay, so at this time, Taiwan belongs to Qing Dynasty, right? So the Qing Dynasty had a war with Japan, and then they lost, of course. So before, when you lost the war, you need to give up something to, as a price, right? You have to pay a price. So at that time, the Qing Dynasty said, just give Taiwan to Japanese. Like nobody knows about what's going on in this island, and we don't want to do anything with the island. So at that time, the Qing Empire just decided to say, okay, now we'll give you Taiwan to Japan. So from 1895 to 1945, the Japanese officially colonized Taiwan. So as I said before, Taiwanese don't speak Mandarin. At that time, we speak indigenous people language. We speak Taiwanese, Hakka, Hokkien, depends on where you immigrate from, the China, and also Japanese. And then when Japanese take over, colonize Taiwan. Okay, so if you guys know a little bit about colonization history everywhere in the world, the first thing they're trying to change you, starting from your education. And then the first thing they'll change you is they'll change your name. So that happens in every colonization I think basically everywhere. Okay, so the Japanese come to Taiwan, they found out that, okay, they want everybody to start to think like Japanese. Okay, so first, they force every Taiwanese people to have a Japanese name. So for example, my grandparents, they have a Japanese name. They don't speak Taiwanese, no, they don't speak Mandarin, sorry. They only speak Taiwanese and Japanese because they have to go to the Japanese school. The time that during the 50 years of colonization with Japan, they tried to make Japanese officially the higher ranking of the language that is using. So if you know Japanese during the 50 years of colonization, you're considered very high-class people because you get more resources if you speak Mandarin and Japanese. Okay, so at that time, starting, the rich people, the educated people in Taiwan, they speak Japanese, Hakka, or Taiwanese. So still no Mandarin yet.
Okay.
Hakka is also another dialect that is now most spoken in Hsinchu, the north part of Taiwan. Yeah. So you guys went to Taipei? Not yet? You went to Penghu, right? Okay.
TB for again, like the best for the end.
Okay.
Like
So-
on the street.
Do you guys take MRT here in Taiwan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks to local train.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in the train we have three languages that is practiced in every stop. One is Mandarin and the Hakka, Taiwanese, and English, four languages actually. Yeah, so because we don't have an official language in Taiwan. So during the 50 years of Japanese colonizations, we still have no Mandarin. So now you know 1945 happened something, right? World War II end. So the World War II end, Japanese lost. And then now, at that time, the Qing dynasty also gone already. So in 1949, you guys probably know, there's a war between the KMT, which is Chiang Kai-shek, and also with Mao Zedong. Because during the World War II, the Mao started the they started to the Communist Party. So after the World War II, the KMT is still in China mainland, but the Communist Party is trying to fight over the KMTs. So during the three civil war in China, the KMT lost. Okay, KMT is one of the biggest party and still now in Taiwan. It's called Kuomintang, so they call KMT. Okay, so the KMT lost the war, the three civil war with the Mao, and then the Chiang Kai-shek decided, okay, one day we have to take over mainland, so we have to go to Taiwan first. Okay, so he took everyone, and not everyone, part of his army from everywhere in Taiwan and come to Taipei in 1949. Okay, so in 1949, the KMT with 1 million something, 1 million something army from mainland China, who they speak Mandarin mainly, and with the dialect from all over China, and then they bring their government here, and then starting to another language policy is now everybody has to speak Guoyu. Guoyu means Mandarin. So after 1949, speaking Taiwanese, Hakka, and indigenous language is forbidden. Like you cannot speak it during the school, or you cannot speak during anywhere in daily life, but you can secretly speak it with your parents, but you cannot be heard. Okay, so from the 1949, so they reinforced speaking Mandarin in education, in the workplace, in government, in every TV show. So you are not supposed to hear any Taiwanese on the songs, entertainment, everything. They ban everything because they don't want Taiwanese people to speak their language. So Taiwanese people has a lot of long history that we're not allowed to speak our language for a long time. So after 1949, because of this language policy, all the way until the martial law was lifted and 1989. So we have 40 20 years of forbidden speaking the dialects, which is like Taiwanese and other etc. language. But after the martial law was lifted, we started to change our language policy because we know that actually most of the Taiwanese people, we don't just use Mandarin at home. We use mixed language with like Hakka, Hokkien, and other dialects. Okay, so most Taiwanese people are very different. It's because I think most Taiwanese people were born with at least we know 2 languages. Like for me, I didn't know speaking bilingual is very special until I went to the United States. Okay. Okay, so because most the people from the US they only speak English. So yeah.
But Taiwanese people like can't even speak English. Like if you come to Europe, like basically like most people can speak English, and here like, it was like really hard, like even for eat I would say everything, like order something, like they can barely understand nothing.
Yes, because English was not part of the education before, but we do speak like Mandarin and then maybe like combined with Taiwanese or Mandarin with Hakka or Mandarin with indigenous language. So we started to put into the English education, but in Europe the setting is different, right? Because you guys are lingua franca. You guys have a very similar language system, right? For example, if you know French, maybe like learning other like Latin language is relatively easier because you have a very similar language system. But I don't think that Taiwanese language proficiency is getting better with the education that is starting now from the elementary school. I think now they speak good English for now at least, but the older people, of course, they still have time to catch up with all these international standards that we all have to speak English. And after that, 1989 until 2000s, we started to do we call local language revival. So we started to put Taiwanese, Hakka, and indigenous language into our language system along with our English education. So a lot of people are joking that if you're a Taiwanese student, you have to study a lot because you have to learn so many languages at the same time. Because most of us we still speak Mandarin at home, but there are some part of people in Taiwan, they insist that to be able to speak many language, especially your mother tongue or local language, is very important in consider of what makes Taiwanese culture so different. Okay, so that is a brief introduction about language policy right now. And now, in Taiwan, if you register to study in elementary school or elementary school, I think, and all the way until middle school, you have to learn a local language, which is Taiwanese or Hakka. Or if you are indigenous people, you have to learn your indigenous language as well. And then they have exams and all these books. So, as I just told you guys that I don't have anything on my PowerPoint today, which is sadly. Oh, it works. Okay, it works. Oh yes. Oh, okay, it works now. Oh my gosh. Okay, but I just finished. Okay. Yay. Okay. Okay, so So I just finished. So after that, this period was the KMT rule. So the KMT were punished for speaking a local language. Okay, so my mom used to have this memory when she went to elementary school. They are not allowed to speak Taiwanese, but it was very tough for a lot of kids because they only know Taiwanese growing up. Next page. So after we lived in the martial law in 1987, we started to have a greater freedom for linguistic, and then the media, the education started to promote a native language. So the mother tongue education actually started now. It's 2025. We started 25 years ago. Okay, yay. And now from 2000, we started to have another way of approaching our, we call language equality and preservations. In 2017, we have this Indigenous Language Development Act. Okay, so before, the indigenous people's language was not recognized in the government setting, and in 2019, which is not a long time ago, less than 10 years ago, we granted the equal status to national language. So we don't have an official language, we have a national language, including Hokkien, Hakka, and indigenous languages. And we government now in Taiwan initially support language equality. We have a teacher training and resources development. Okay, so I just asked this question. Next. We don't have an official language. We have a legal status definition. We have a Mandarin has been widely used in a lot of settings because of the KMT rules. During that time, they force us not to speak our language. Next. And we also have this language we call national language, including Taiwanese Sign Language and Taiwanese Hokkien. We don't call it Hokkien, we call it Taiwanese Hokkien because the Taiwanese Hokkien is very different than the Hokkien from China. And then Hakka and indigenous language, and we also have a Manchu dialect. And the sign language also considered as a national language in this act that is issued by government at 2019. Okay, next. And so according to the act, following are recognized. So today we're going to teach you a little bit about Taiyu, which is widely used in daily life, especially in Taichung area and all the way down to the south. We probably use it every single day. And Hakka is more likely in the north part and also a little bit south part of Taiwan. And indigenous people depends on which tribe you guys at, because you guys visited a tribe before the Taya. So Ami Saya depends on which tribe you have, you speak the language. And then Matsu dialects is in the Matsu Island, which is very close to China. And the Taiwanese Sign Language is primarily used for that community. And these are all we called national language in the setting of our language policy regarding to the government's ideas. Next. Okay, so we have 3 questions that after this brief introductions, I want you guys to maybe discuss it a little bit with the group, maybe share your idea. It's not stressful, just like I wanted to know because I am not really sure about the language policy that is maybe in Europe or in your country. And so the first question is, why does a country's language policy affect people's identity? What do you guys think? So in your country, they only teach one language, or you have to learn more than 2 languages?
Native language plus two languages at school.
So you have to learn 3 languages?
Yeah.
For example, English and Spanish.
And French.
Or Spanish.
So you speak French in daily life and then learn Spanish?
At a low level Spanish, like it's not really, we are not, like we don't train enough to have a good.
Oh, okay. So is it mandatory? You have to take it? Oh. But is it on the test? Do you have to pass the exam to enter the university for English?
Depends on which university you want to go in. Us, yeah, we have the test for English.
Yeah.
Or university.
So it's not for every school?
No.
Because in Taiwan, it's very interesting, because in Taiwan, English is, you have to be tested to know English to enter university, any university.
Even here?
Yes.
The level is not
Yes, but our testing is not like perfect. But it's a national exam for university entry test that everybody has to know at least reading English to become. But in your country, it's different, right? Depends on which university you want to apply. And then if they will decide whether or not you should know English. But even if you don't know English, is it okay to enter the college in France? No?
You can go at college, like public, without knowing.
Without knowing English is okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very different. And our language policy is very different. In Taiwan, if you graduate high school, you want to enter university. English is one of the subjects they have tested you before you go to university.
With us, like it's like all private university, I think you have to pass a test, but yeah, only some public.
But the public school is better or it's the same? Depends on what you study. Is it easier to get into the public school or the private school?
It's the same.
It's the same. Depends on what you want to study. Oh, okay.
Like private school, like just
You have to pay, right? And public is free, right? I think in Europe the public school is free. Oh, interesting. And how about you? Your country, they have a different language policy to the approach of.
I think it's quite similar. So in Poland, we start learning first language,
Mhm.
which is usually English. I think English is mandatory when you're 7.
Oh,
And
okay.
then so obviously primarily Polish,
Yes.
but then alongside English. And I think when we are about 12, 13, we
Mhm.
get second language. Usually it's either French or German, but we can choose Spanish, Italian,
Mhm.
or whatever else our schools offer.
Yeah.
But to get to college per se, we don't have to pass language exams. But at the end of the high school, we have maturity exam.
Yes.
So we have to pass at least one language on some basic level.
Yes.
I think mostly it's English, but you can choose something else.
Oh,
You
okay.
have to pass it on the basic level
Mhm.
just to have the maturity exam
Mhm.
that enables you to apply to college.
Okay, so you guys still majority use Polish in daily life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like mostly people have to take English since 7 years old. Does that affect people to like why is it important to know English in a Europe setting?
I think it's like people, like everyone really agrees on that. Knowing English nowadays is
Yeah.
a must. You just have to
Yeah.
have your understanding quite open.
Yeah.
Because not knowing English for us
Yeah.
is perceived as having less opportunities.
Oh, okay. But in French, not many people know English, right? I mean, not everyone.
No, but we still have like they don't know like really like well, but still know some words.
Yeah, because
One at
Yeah.
at least minimum level average, like it's okay.
yeah, because when my families and friends travel to France, they don't. I mean, in French people, some of the French people they don't really like to speak English to foreigners. They insist on speaking French. And I didn't know. There's especially French people. Some of them they don't really like to speak English. They want you to speak French with them if you go to France, right?
which part did you go in from?
Paris.
That's why.
Oh, that is why it's because it's Paris. Also, Paris people they don't want to speak other language but only French.
Well, like many tutors there, so they'll like mean tutors.
Oh, okay. So okay.
All are like country.
In other place like South France, maybe it's better.
I think so.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, so if we go to France, we don't go to Paris.
No offense to real.
Yeah, so we just don't go. Okay, tips. Everybody, if you want to travel to France, don't go to Paris. They're not nice. Okay. We go to somewhere else. Okay, like Nice, or like, at least we have a beautiful beach and people are nicer. Yeah, because I wanted because a lot of Taiwanese people, I mean, Asian people, when we travel to Europe, I mean, France is of course one of the spots that we have to go. But then we also have a lot of like challenges during the trip that we don't know French, obviously, and then English probably not as useful sometimes. So there's a lot of interesting stories sometimes that along the way was. So tips out, we don't go to Paris anymore. So we go to somewhere else. Nice. Okay. So anything else here from your country? What is the language policy as learning English in
yeah. To learn English, like when we enter college, we need to pass the exam. Yeah, and some of them maybe to Japanese or Russian. Yeah, but most of us learn English.
You have to. So how old in mainland? How old do you guys started to speak, like to learn English?
The 3 grades of my elementary school, I need to start learning English. And once I enter junior high school, English is a main course in my about my
Mm-hmm. So like about like 10 years old, you started to learn English. Yeah. Okay, so it's very different. Now we know like in Europe they have at least trilingual or bilingual is like the minimum requirements for European, because Europe, you guys are very close to each other. I mean, you're landed connected. So for European people, it's very common for you guys to speak at least 2 languages because of also the education policy, right?
We're not like that much people that are bilingual. Like they know French really well because they're native, for example, in France, but yeah, for English.
Depends, right?
Yeah, it depends. For education.
But what is, like, I have Belgian friends. They say in Belgium you have to know like French and German.
Yes,
and English.
I don't
Like
like
It still depends. Depends which part.
Depends which part. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I live on the border, on the Belgian border.
Yeah.
And
You have to.
everyone like speak French because it's their
language from the Netherlands.
Oh, Dutch?
No, that's the other part of the.
Oh, the other part of Belgium. Cool. Yeah, so European people, when it comes to the language policy approach, is very different than Taiwan. Because Taiwan, okay, so if you guys learn Mandarin in certain levels, right? So, like, Mandarin is a language system that is totally different than any language we learned before. Like, English is nothing like English, and then Spanish, of course, like French. So, we have to learn English now starting from 7-year-olds in elementary school. But, it's very tough for Mandarin speaker because it's a new thing that, and then the worst thing is we don't take it just for fun. We have to take English as a very serious subject because we have to be tested to get into university in Taiwan. I think that is also why Taiwanese people don't like English. Because they got forced to learn it, and because it's like, oh, this is good for your future. But when you are 15 years old, who cares about future? It just cares about like you have to go to the test. So when language learning becomes a mandatory and an exam, nobody likes it. Yeah. So, but now let's also come into the third question. That now a lot of people are also against Taiwanese education, putting all this local language into the subjects. Because as I said, English will be fun if you learn it, you can help you to have a better opportunity. But when English is put into an education system that you're mandatory to take it and also have a very difficult exam to pass, it's not the same fun anymore. So now we put Hakka and Taiwanese language into our education system, and now we have to test it. So now a lot of some of the educators and students and teachers started to have a voice on should we do this? Like we force our kids to learn English? Because now, as I know, they have to be tested of how good your Taiwanese is. And which is also a lot of pressure for kids. So they have to learn Mandarin for sure, English and mathematics and other subjects. And now one more. They have to know the local language. Depends on where they are. So do you think that there's a cultural significance of learning the local language as a Taiwanese? That if you're Taiwanese, okay, you speak Mandarin most of the time, but your family, maybe your grandparents speak Taiwanese. Do you think that it's any cultural significance or you have to know the Taiwanese?
You mean like difficulties to learn Taiwanese?
Yeah, so for example, my brother's kids, right? So most of the young people right now speak Mandarin. I mean everybody. But our family we mix a little bit. We have half Taiwanese and half Mandarin. So our third generation, so for example, my brother's kids, do they have to learn Taiwanese?
No, but I think it's better. It's always better to know another language.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good point. So now the language policy approach is that should we force our students, especially the elementary school students, to know the local language? Is really because we want to keep the culture, or we just want them to become a bilingual, trilingual person? But then another people will say that, okay, so Taiwanese is not broadly used in the world. It's not like English, right? Like you can use English when you travel. Probably not Paris, but other place. Okay. But they say learning Taiwanese. I don't use Taiwanese. I'm not going to use Taiwanese. Maybe why should I learn it? Why government have to have a language act that people have to learn it? Keep it. Why we keep it? Can we just lose it? Like indigenous people, right? They're trying to keep their language. Why we should keep it? Traditions and culture. So if we don't speak Taiwanese, our tradition is gone. Yeah. Exactly. Very good. How about you? What's your thought on this?
Yeah, I think it's the same for the culture, but in Europe, like in France, we also have. I had to like learn for 1 year. It was mandatory. Latin.
Latin. Oh yeah.
It's a very.
It's a dead language.
Yeah, yeah. Ouais. Cinquième, j'étais obligé d'apprendre. Ouais.
I think I heard of it. Do you guys have learned Latin in Poland? No. Okay. But there's a Latin class. Is there a Latin language class in Poland?
There is if you take like extended promotion.
Okay, extended. So why do they have to learn Latin? What's the meaning? Significance, culture, significance meaning of learning a dead language?
I think some people may be interested in this because like it's our culture and it's always better to know a language. But I only did 1 year, but some people did like 7 years.
I think it's actually embedded in the history.
Oh yeah.
For so many years in Europe, the dominant religion was Christian.
Yes.
The Christian was really based on Latin language. Like the masses in the churches were in Latin fully.
Oh.
Even if people didn't speak Latin, they were.
It's like Ukraine, right? The Eastern Ukraine only wrote in Arabic, right?
So I think it's really like better in the European.
Yeah. So isn't Latin a speak language? Can you have a conversation in Latin? No, I mean if you learn Latin very well.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Nobody speaks Latin. It's hard for me to like.
Memorizing the words, maybe.
Like, for example, my friends help you to like.
The vocabulary. So if we.
Some vocabulary.
Okay. So if you learn
To
Latin.
learn more, like to know how to write better in French, even Italian maybe. I don't know.
Because Latin is the origin of all the language.
Yeah, because Latin,
Right.
yeah, It's a region of.
It's a masters, and then they have different kinds of language. Oh, it's like holy language, right? The God language.
Biology, when you learn.
Oh yeah. Exactly, because before the biology, like the human body parts, I think the English is all Latin, right? Yeah, in the medical school too.
Yeah, so when the doctors
Yeah.
meet from different countries,
Exactly.
they don't have to speak their languages, but
They just use Latin,
Yeah.
right? Oh, cool. Interesting. So it comes back. So do we have to learn Taiwanese? Do we have to learn indigenous language? If we consider Taiwanese and Daleks as the same spots on the Latin education in Europe, maybe it could have something connected together. I think for me, first, knowing Taiwanese is where my roots from. My family all speak Taiwanese. We only speak Taiwanese, which is very rare. I didn't know that before 18 years old, because before 18 years old, I never meet the south part of Taiwan. Taiwan is very small, I know. But after 18 years old, I went to college in Taipei. I started to know that, oh, not many people speak Taiwanese. I didn't know that. And so Taiwanese is my first language. And I think it will be very nice that if my children or my nieces, they can keep it. Because there are some way of emotion expressions that we cannot do it in Mandarin. You have to speak Taiwanese to know the feeling of knowing what exactly that means. And also the cultural significance is, I think, now we have a lot of, I think Taiwanese is very interesting. We are not a one group of people. As I said, who is Taiwanese? So we have an identity crisis for every Taiwanese people. Who is Taiwanese? So who? So if you're born in Taiwan, you're Taiwanese? Yeah?
It's maybe your origins on that language.
Yeah, of course, my ancestors are mixed with like Mainland and indigenous people and Chinese from mainland. But now we have Taiwanese has this identity issue. Like who is Taiwanese? Who is French? People born in France are considered French.
Yeah.
Even if the parents are not born in France.
Yeah. That's
But the society receive them as French.
that's everyone.
Not everyone, right?
No.
Because I have a friend whose parents are Chinese, but he was born in France. I mean, he's totally French, and he looked Chinese. But he still have identity crisis. Like he doesn't know if he's
Same for him. His grandparents is from
They're from Algeria, so they were born in Algeria, but I consider myself.
So yeah, because you're born French. For you, your identity, you think you're French,
And
right?
everyone consider me as French because I look French.
Yeah, you look French. But if you're Asian, right? Like my friends say, oh, he's mixed.
I have a friend
He's Iron.
with Chinese and French, like his mother is from mainland,
Yeah.
and his dad is from France, and we consider a little French. It's a little bit.
Because they're French, right? I mean, that's the same identity issue with Taiwanese people, right? I mean, if we want to identify ourselves from our blood, we have mainland China and from indigenous people, and then from like Japanese maybe, or like Netherlands people. So we're mixed with a lot of races. And if you want to do like a birthplace, right? If you're born in Taiwan, so now people will categorize. If you are Taiwanese, you were born in Taiwan, you will know Mandarin, and you will know a language that is not Mandarin, which is probably like Taiwanese, Hakka, indigenous people. So Taiwanese people the government try to keep it is because if we don't keep it, our culture will disappear along with the language. That if we don't try to keep it or make it spoken widely with in the society. We probably will not make you rich if you know to speak Taiwanese or Hakka, but in certain level it will help you keep along the way with all the tradition and then the thoughts of how does it define you as being Taiwanese. So the language policy is
very dangerous at the very same time, very important. If, for example, the colonization time when the government tried to brainwash a country, the first thing is they change the language for sure. In every way. In every way. They'll do it. It's like, I will change your language and I'll change your name. So they do it the same thing in Indonesia. When they're trying to cut off the Chinese setting, it's the same. So language policy is a very interesting political issue in my certain sense. It could have a very different aspect. Depends on what you want to use it for. It could be a really good use. Right now in Taiwan, we have multilingual language combined with multicultural environments. But if you want to use it as a weapon, political weapons, it's very easy to brainwash, to disappear the culture in the world. And that is commonly used I think in the history, it's commonly used. Okay? Okay, so let's take a break. First, let's take a break first, and then we'll come back after the break.
Ce que je fais, c'est que les murs de dernier mètre. C'est avant de monter. So I think it's probably
荷兰，荷兰，荷兰，荷兰。我手机号，我用手机号登。3天我都回去了。所以我这样讲了。不过也快结束了，这边有地方，尤其是刚刚有人可以通知我说。
可以用比较用文字传给你。哦，我 Line 哦，有，怎么我 Line 没有，我登不上。因为刚好，因为刚好是2个小时，对，然后我只能用手机号的，对，算了，看手机。然后他让我用手机号登地区，那我用台湾就好了，他让我。什么意思？因为你学期后呢会可以，对，然后等22天就是，然后我都回去，他就是叫你不要下来，会蛮累的，我叫你再留下来，我已经就是这样大声，我已经前面好多那种开始不好意思。今天算是因为他来这张房会讲，我真的假？以前没去，我上台北没去看，一个小小的，一个没去。本子很瘦，然后我在台北的外购，他是讲说你出去学在台北，我说我天天在台北走2万步的，我都没有遇到。他说有2站可以长，然后有2边也被骑飞到我特地去的。我在哪里？台北啊，台北啊，台北哪个？今天刚开的吗？去公寓。所以本子，对啊，他就你哦。保什么？保什么？会付款？这是保什么？台北那去的地方，广哥。我有一天保什么？去广哥，我没有。这是新地区，你们都去新地区，101附近那里。我就，可是我20几岁的时候。怎么我在台北日行2万步没有给我一个？那还有活动的前一天，怎么有大声？然后活动在保利广场，然后一定要去，反正是在那捷运出来走的。有时候不要叫我吹一个，我就去约，就按照我的风格上。但是我那天是那个我都去的那一块儿那边当时没事啊，我们不是，我们当时你们是很忙，因为你们毕业，但是我们不是，因为要毕业，就 A4，大4天可以 A4，那就大1，我们是大1大2，因为大4就很多要毕业要干嘛？真怀念啊！对，我就不然弄报毕业，千万不要白想。对，他真的报毕业啊，那讲说特地去的，你知道我知道我搬哪什么时候？我都在台北有想搞手机，很猛啊！13吗？不是15，然后活动是14，然后我25下包。我怀疑没有贵书。我宁可不600的梦想甩我一脚。我下次投资到时候就要会了，你知道我那天对吧？如果你不600，看你都才这个去上来去。没有，我去只是然后跟朋友嘛，在我认识然后下去，他裸付就看完然后再回来。我就去买双鞋。天哪！你们高雄改办？别问了，别问了，别问了，别问了，说了，别问了，别问了。等一下，如果我要放音乐，可以从这里放出来。对，好的，不好意思。没有这样子。不知道会不会走到这里？
我刚刚有关。
快下去。英文又看不了。我会找到帮他用，我会找到方法用。
一人一命，无人相共。
什么？我们一起去那个活动，然后我们要配隔壁。这边有什么好吃的四川火锅吗？就是附近的，没有台中，你想吃吗？
and different than people here, but we can still understand.
For the east.
I'm from the coastline of Yunlin, which is like Yunlin.
Oh, Yunlin.
Down, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So my accent will be different, but we still understand. Okay, 不要紧. So all of this is very difficult, but I want you to know at least 3 words today. This one. 第二, okay, and this one. 豆虾, yeah, this commonly used every day. 豆虾, and this one. 拍谁. 拍谁 is like, excuse me, sorry. 拍谁, 拍谁, 拍谁. 拍谁. Yeah, so all of this you don't need to remember, but this one is commonly used. 第二, 谢谢, 拍谁. 第二, 豆虾, 拍谁. 第二, 豆虾, 拍谁. Okay, that is 3 words you need to learn from the greetings. So 第二 is commonly used. 第二, 大家好. Okay, next one. Okay, also today we need to challenge yourself to introduce yourself in Taiwanese. Okay, so in Mandarin you say 我是, right? How do you say it in Mandarin? 我是. 我是. 我是 like your name, right? 我是.
Something get.
我是. Yeah, you should put your name. 我是.
Taiwanese.
Yes, so I will translate your name in Chinese later. Yeah, I will help you to translate it. And then you also you can say Wakil. Wakil means my name is Wakil. Yeah. So but just remember one. I think this one is easier. Washi. And also you want to introduce your nationality. So you are French, right? You say Washi Huat Gou Lang. Washi Huat Gou.
What group?
Yeah, Huat Gou. 我要把他们的那个
法国
Yeah, 法国 but we don't say 法国 we say this one 法国 yes very good 没事你是法国我是法国人
Land is more like national.
人 is people like I'm French people so 我是法国人 Yes 我是法國人啊你是啥人你是啥人我是台中人你是台中人 OK from 台中 OK 你是啥人 You can say 我是中國人我是中國人yes 人 is the 我是中國人中Yes, 中國人 Cool, man. Okay, let's go back. We know this one. We need to learn this one. It's a little bit difficult. So you are here in Taiwan to learn Mandarin or drinking? 我来台湾啉酒 Drinking. Alright, I will teach you how to know how to say drink beer in Taiwanese. Very useful in Taiwan, especially in Taichung. Okay, 我来台湾 means I am here in Taiwan. 我 so you always remember 我来台湾 Taiwan is Taiwan, as you can hear, right? 我来台湾 means learn. It's like a French sound. You have the sound at the very back of your tongue. Yeah, it's the same. We say Yes, very good. 我来台湾中文 means Chinese. 中文 Yeah. 中文 And then where you live now? 我住伫台中 我 always 我住 live Okay 住 Yeah 住 Yes Under 住 the 住
is you?
Yeah No You is the Okay 我住伫 D means he like a location 我住伫台中 is here 台中 我住伫台中
Okay, that's challenge. Okay, we need to find out your name. You don't have to because it probably takes a lot, but we need to try to master this sentence today. Okay, remember what we learned this one? We just learned this one.
离合，
离合，我叫保罗，会猜？我叫保罗，我是 Where you from？
台中人，
法国人，对，我是法国人，我住伫台中。And this one, if it's too challenge, skip it. Just remember this one. 多下 very good. Okay. Let's skip this one because I think it's too much. Today we have to know your name, your nationality, where you live, and thank you. Easy. Okay, let's try one more time. 你好，
离合，
我是
我叫
我是 also okay. 我叫 Mickey. 我是台湾人，我住伫台中，多谢。Okay, can we memorize this? Can okay. So for 保罗 is 你好，我叫保罗，我是法国人，我住伫台中，多谢。Okay. 那你呢？
Zero a lot of the T kind of.
对，你是越南瓦郎人，瓦郎，对，瓦郎人。你好，我叫你，我是瓦郎人，我住伫台中，多谢。At least 多谢 we have to know 多谢。Okay, we have to memorize this today to pass the attendance today. Hey, 你好，我叫 like any your name， 我叫保罗，我叫保罗呵，我是 Where are you from？ 我是法国人 ，very good，我住伫台中。here. 多谢 very good. Okay, this one is a little bit difficult. So this one, GUA means what? What is what? I think it sounds like French. First, 我讲后面的就法文。
That's why I thought.
Yeah. It sounds like a French. What? So I teach. So maybe if I learn French, I can speak it very well. 我是法国人，我住伫 Where are we living right now? 台中。So ONG has a saxophone. Yeah, 台中 and this one? 多谢。Okay. Can we memorize this one, everybody? Can we memorize? Oh, let's skip this one. Okay, we don't need this one. We skip it, but at least 1, 2, 3. We need to try to memorize it. Yeah. So you can put your name in English. So 你好，我叫 Mickey， 我是台湾人，我住伫台中，多谢。你可以吗？啊，瓦郎，你是瓦郎，对，瓦郎人叫。Everybody's from French here? Okay, so that's easy. Everybody's a 法国人. Okay, that's easy. Okay, so we're learning Taiwanese a little bit because it's very commonly used here. So, yeah, Taichung. Everybody's speaking Taiwanese. So we say hi in Taichung is 你好. 你好. Okay. Okay. 我叫 Esther. 我是中国人，我住伫台中。多谢 ，very good. Oh, you wanna try? 你好，我叫
保罗，
保罗
我去
画狗
画个狼，
，very good，
我去台中
台中，台中
坐下。
，very good，very good. Okay, so this is a very common use word. At least those everybody need to know. Like we say it like almost every day. We go to buy something here in Taichung or like, 你好，多谢。I said. So this is the I asked what's the nationality here we have. So mostly today we have Huaco, French, France, Huaco, 中国，台湾，马来西亚，我直接马来西亚的朋友，马来西亚，马来西亚，因为比较长，有4个字。Alright, so also if you go to the club and then saw a very handsome guy and beautiful girl here in Taichung, you can surprise them with Taiwanese. You can surprise them with Taiwanese. Instead of speaking Mandarin, it's not cool anymore. We can do like a Taiwanese, like 你好，你叫什么？ Yeah, no, 你好 is like commonly used in Thai. 你好，你 means you. So like what? 你。对不对？我叫 so 你叫啥 means what? 名 means name. So 你好，你叫什么名字 ？Not cool in Taichung. Okay, we have to do the cool thing, the Taichung style. We say, hey, 你好，你叫啥名？喂。Let's do the Italian thing. Italian, the first time I know Italian when I was in the States in the language school, the Italians say hi with their eyebrows. What's your name? So we do it in our Taichung style. So you go to a place you wanna. I think 90% of Taiwanese people will understand this word for sure. Like and they will think you're super cool because this is like very. It's a language that is embedded in our cultures, but it will be very close if one of the foreign friends try to learn this a bit by bit. Okay, so today we have to go back with this word for sure. Everybody gonna try this together? And how do you answer it? 我叫保罗，对 ，That's it, easy, right? 你好，你叫啥名？我叫 Vicky， 多谢，多谢 ，Okay, easy. You should try this weekend with any Taiwanese. It'll be so fun. And now, important thing we want to say, 哇，and then 你 and then 一。So E means she or he or E. What? B. E. Yeah. And then we. Lan. Lan. Would. Yeah, depends. Yeah. And Lin. Lin. Lin in Italian means you guys. You. Plural. And in means they. But these are more difficult. Today you only need to know this one. What? Li. E. What? Li. E. That's it. What girl? Vicky. E girl. 声音 get. 一个声 get. 你叫啥名? Very good. That's it. Okay. So. Okay, very important. So, you want to meet some friend, you have to express your preferences. Yeah, so, 哇 So, 我喜欢 right? This is like a Chinese lesson 101 you have to know in the Mandarin class. But in Taiwanese, we said, 哇 means me. 哇 and 喜欢 like It's a bit challenge. You wanna try to pronounce this one? 这个应该还好。尬意 means like. Okay, so if you see a Chinese girl, you like it, you say 你好 What got you? I like you. That's it. You close the deal. We don't need to say anything else. And say, hey, 你好，你叫什么？What got you? Yay! We close the deal. Say, hey, what's your name? I like you. Done. 对，你就 close the deal. 就要去搭讪啦。Yeah, you go to the nightclub, drinking, you saw a girl, say, hey, 你好，你叫什么？Oh, 我叫宝宝，我介意你。Done. Okay, super cool. Okay, so 我介意你。哇，介意 means like. I think Chinese people use it like a lot. 介意 like in every Chinese songs. 介意 yeah, 介意 means 喜欢 like. So, what is your favorite drink here in Taiwan?
Water.
Water? Really? I thought it's this one, no? You guys try this?
Yeah.
We don't say beer or pigeon. We don't say this. I never say it. We say biru. Biru. Beer. Yes, biru. Biru. Taiwan biru. Taiwan biru. Taiwan biru. Okay, so if you see a nice girl, hey, 我介意你 Taiwan biru. So here, Li means drink. Drink. 我介意你台湾秘鲁. It's so useful this one. Taiwan 秘鲁. So we don't say pigeon, we say 秘鲁. If you say 秘鲁 in everywhere in Taiwan, they will know exactly what drink will give you. Yeah, 秘鲁. 秘鲁, yeah. Actually, 秘鲁 is Taiwanese. It's Japanese. 秘鲁 is we borrow this word from Japanese because it's beer. Beer in Japanese they say 秘鲁, and we borrow this one from Japanese into Taiwanese. So if you go to Japan, you say 秘鲁 dozo. They will give you a 秘鲁. They will give you a beer. So that's why Taiwanese people like to go to Japan because a lot of words is in common.
And there is Taiwan beer.
Yeah.
I saw when I went.
Yeah. So if you just go to any restaurant in Japan and say 秘鲁秘鲁, and they'll give you 秘鲁 for sure. Okay. Yeah. So you can say 我介意吃. 吃 means eat. 介意吃. Eat 吃 anything. Okay. 我介意吃饭, 吃饭, 吃面. Okay. 我介意吃 or 我介意你. I think this one is more common. I like to drink something. 我介意啉秘鲁. And Taiwanese people, I will teach you how to cheer in Taiwanese because that's what we do. 我介意你, you should take away this sentence too. Very, very useful and important. I think if any girl saw a foreign girl or boy say that to me, I would think like, oh my god, that is very cute. Okay. 我介意你啉秘鲁. It's like, you want to drink 啉秘鲁吗? And if I don't like you, we use the, how do you say this? 我无介意你. 少一个字. 我无介意你. 我无介意. I don't like. 我无介意. 我无介意秘鲁. Alright, so you should take away this one next. Alright, Taiwan 秘鲁. 水果秘鲁. 水果秘鲁. 我介意啉水果秘鲁. 我无介意台湾秘鲁. You should try this one. Have you guys tried this one? 18 days.
No, I think only is the one in the middle.
This one? No, you should try this one. This one is difficult to find because it only can keep 18 days. It's straight street beer.
And it's served in convenience stores?
Some of communities so they have it. You have to look. Yeah, 18 days. It's very good. Called 18天，18天。Okay, 18天。比如 Okay, next. 比如。Okay, so when we're drinking, how do we cheer in France? If we want to drink, how do we say like so day, right? How do you say in Taiwan? In Mandarin, how do we say? 干杯. Okay. And in Taiwan, in Taiwanese, we don't say like 干杯. We say 喝大. 喝大 means like bottles up, like drinking everything. 喝大. Yeah. So 喝大. 喝大. Or we can just tell people to drink. Lim is drink. Okay, so 干杯是没有人讲干杯呢。干杯。And this one is 干杯. This one is the same in Mandarin, but in Taiwanese we say 干杯. But this one is very Taiwanese. 喝大啦. Yeah, because in French you say chanter, it's not Taiwanese, we say 喝大. Means like empty your cup. 喝大. Yes, so now this week if you go out to drive, say, hey, what guy need? Bimbo, 喝大. You only need five words. Hey, I like you, drink it. Let's empty the cup, that's it. Your sentence closed, okay? So, very useful word. 喝大. I think it's very easy to memorize too. 喝大. Okay? Okay. This is the paragraph we just said, but we're gonna add it. I like to drink beer in this sentence. 你好，我叫 Mickey， 我是台湾人，我住伫台中，我甲伊啉台湾啤酒。豆浆。Okay, at least we need to know 豆浆 today. Okay, 豆浆。应该没有了。哦，还有1、2、3、4、5。对。Okay, so. So we need to come back with this before we carry on. So today you need to know how to say hi in Taiwanese. Hi in Taiwanese and introduce your name and where you're from, and then thank you. That's the basic part. Okay, so 你好，我叫 Mickey， 我是台湾人。坐下。Very simple introduction in Taiwanese today. Everyone has to pass it, but you guys are Taiwanese. Like it's kind of cheating, but it's very common use in Taiwan. Okay, especially 我甲伊哩. Okay, try to use this sentence to a girl this weekend. I want to see how they react. I like you in Taiwanese. 我甲伊哩. It's cute though. Yeah, 我甲伊哩. Why? 有点太 strong. Yeah, and we have to do like slowly. Okay. 我甲伊哩. What's up, guy? Too strong. First time we just say 我甲伊哩, okay, and then 喝大啦. 喝大啦 means bottles up, okay, bottoms up. 喝大啦. Okay. Now, as you know, when you learn Mandarin class, they always have numbers. So. Can you guys count in Mandarin 1 to 10? 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10. Very good. Okay. Now we achieve Mandarin. Now we're trying to do Taiwanese. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。9、10、
I have my Chinese exam like tomorrow, so
So,
it's a dangerous game.
so what are you gonna test for tomorrow?
Like writing from
1 to 10?
no, like strokes to pinyin, like it's really basic.
Oh, okay.
But it's only 3 months.
Yeah, it's okay. But you have to memorize for Dala after you go back to France. When we drink, you say Chantel, you don't say Chantel anymore. We say Hopdala. You should bring this back to France. Or Kylie, Hopdala. Okay. So, okay, at least until 5, we mostly common is 1, 2, 3. So when we count, so for example, I know how to count in French, under trois. Oh. Yeah, under trois, that's the only thing, because when I teach the French kids, I say, all the Asian moms are saying, we have to be there. So in Chinese, we say, 技能三喜五技能三喜五 Yeah, that's it. 技能三喜五应该可以吧？自己来试试看。然后呢，有时候有人说冷，有时候说鸡，都可以。The different part, different pronunciation. Okay. Now the last part is. So I don't know if you guys go to the karaoke here in Taiwan.
Yes.
Yes.
KTV.
KTV. Okay, so KTV is a lifestyle. Actually, not just entertainment. It's a very rooted in our social life. It's more just singing, and we do it bound with friends, relaxing after work, and even do business sometimes. Okay, so if you are a student or coworker, or for example, I grew up singing karaoke at home. I didn't know it was a special thing until I traveled to other country. So,
Yes.
do you guys have karaoke? Do you guys do karaoke in Europe? No, right?
We do sometimes, like, but when we were younger in party. Oh, but then we.
Yeah, but singing, do you guys sing like with friends? And no, right? I think French people like drinking, dancing, right?
Yeah.
Dancing. I think not.
Like we don't have KTV, but we do at home.
Okay, but we have like an exactly place just for singing, and
We have, but a very low amount.
I think maybe in Paris they have in the Asian district where the Asian have an Asian restaurant, and then yeah, but it's not like a thing for most French people or like people in Europe, right? Yeah, so actually we have a KTV. We call it in we don't have KTV in Chinese. It's just called KTV. Yeah, it's not Chinese because it's supposed to be karaoke television, but we don't translate this into Mandarin or in any language. We just say KTV. Okay, so we have a multi-language in the KTV set in Taiwan. So it look like this. If you go to the KTV, right? You're like a fancy one with all the. Okay. So it's a way to express emotion. So if you ever go to KTV with Taiwanese people, we like to sing sad songs. Like very sad one, like it's like someone died in our family, or my lover just killed himself, something like that, like very sad. We like sad songs, right? We don't like when I go to KTV with like foreign friends, I like happy songs, but we don't do happy songs, and we do sad songs. So when we have a heartbroken, like for example, my boyfriend left me with other girl, we'll go to KTV and then sing and cry and drinking at the same time. Yeah. And when we miss something, and then we will go to KTV to express our emotions. And also we have a KTV is like a workplace sometimes if you want social bonding with a coworker after dinner or after like a party. So in Taiwan we'll go to parties. For example, when it's in college, your age, I will go to party from 11 to 3 o'clock and then go to KTV from 4 o'clock until 9. And then we go home. It's pretty hardcore. Yeah, all the way until in the morning. So if you invited to KTV by Taiwanese coworker, just say yes. Okay, it's a good way to connect with friends. So today I'm going to teach you one very slow Taiwanese songs. Very slow, very easy. 帮我翻一下歌词。It's not difficult because I pick a lot of songs, and this one is the one I pick. It's okay if you cannot memorize, but I just want you to listen. What is like to listen to Taiwanese songs?
一人一命，无人相共。有好命人，有歹命人。你若问我是啥人？我是孤单的人。成功的人有够迷人。伊的一天好过我一冬，风中的沙随风飘散，过一天算一天。我毋是好人，嘛毋是歹人。我只是需要一个爱我的人，好命甲歹命，春夏甲秋冬，甲伊一人一半。人海茫茫，啉甲茫茫，袂沉袂动，有谁对我毋甘？青春的梦，梦一个人会对我惜命命。我毋是好人，嘛毋是歹人，我只是需要一个爱我的人。好命甲歹命。春夏甲秋冬，甲伊一人一半。我毋是好人，嘛毋是歹人，我就是你的人。 你若问我是啥人？我是孤单的人。成功的人有够迷人，我不是好人，嘛不是歹人，我只是需要一个爱我的人。好命甲歹命，春夏甲秋冬，甲伊一人一半。算一天，我不是好人，嘛不是歹人，我只是需要一个爱我的人。好命甲歹命，春夏甲秋冬，甲伊一人一半。 过一天算一天。我不是好人，嘛不是歹人，我只是需要一个爱我的人。好命甲歹命，春夏甲秋冬，甲伊一人一半。